We want to start this morning with a video. I have in your bulletin. Does anybody need a bulletin, by the way? Okay. The handout for today, it actually is starting with a song that is done by Hillsong. I put the words in your handout this morning. They'll also be up on the screen as well. But I wanted you to be able to take those words home with you, and hopefully that you'll be able to apply those to your life this week. When heaven and earth collide. You know, we were separated from God because of our sin. And this morning I want to kind of take a look at what it means when heaven and earth collide. We're going to talk about darkness and light and what it means when those two things intersect. In Genesis chapter 28, we see a story about Jacob. And when he was a really young man, he was really trying to find his way. And along the line, he made some poor decisions, but even though he made some poor decisions, God saw fit to bless him, and bless him in a big way. And we see part of his journey in Bethel. And he had this encounter with God, where he fell asleep one night, and he had this vision of heaven opening, and this ladder, stairs going from heaven to earth, and angels descending on those stairs. And that was the beginning of this journey that he went on, where he learned who God really was. He saw what happened when heaven and earth collide. He saw the glory of God. And when he got up in the morning, he named that place Bethel, which means house of God, because he recognized that God was there. So this morning I want to begin by actually talking about how we bridge that divide between heaven and earth. How do we bridge that gap from darkness to light? And I was talking to one of my friends, her name's Nikki. She just had what are called mono twins. The chance of both of the babies surviving was less than 50%. But both of the babies were born, and they were born healthy. They got a lot of struggles. It's going to take a long time. But she was actually able to bring Gibson home from the NICU last week. And one of the things she was talking to me about was how he can't handle the darkness. He can't handle the darkness and he can't handle the quiet because he's been in the NICU for almost a month. And it's always light and there's always noise and there's all the monitors. So he isn't content and he can't sleep unless the lights are on and there's noise in the room. Well, she's opted to put Caleb on radio, so she's loving it because every time she has to go in there to take care of the baby, she gets to have worship time. But it made me start thinking a little bit about this idea of darkness. And how do we feel about the darkness? I don't know about you, I don't like the darkness. I tend to deal a little bit with claustrophobia, and being in small and closed places is bad enough, but you add the darkness on top of that, and it can be scary. It can be scary. We're always looking for that pinpoint of light. In Matthew 4:16, it says, "The people who sat in darkness have seen a great light. And for those who lived in the land where death casts its shadow, a light has shined," moving from darkness to light. You know, generally speaking, I think in our community, when we think about this area, we think about how we live in an area that is safe, secure. But you know, with the events that have been happening over the last few weeks, it makes me kind of see that darkness feels like it's kind of encroaching more and more. And I don't know if you've listened to the news lately, whether it's local news or national news or international news. It just seems like that darkness is overtaking the light. So my question for you this morning is, how do we as believers respond to that? How do we respond when all we can see around us is death and destruction? What do we say? What do we do? John the Baptist proclaimed Jesus as the light of the world. And a little later in John chapter 8, Jesus spoke to the people once more and he said, I am the light of the world. If you follow me, you won't have to walk in darkness, because you will have the light that leads to life. You will have the light that leads to life. I'm going to just park there for now. I'm not going to say a whole lot about that because I want to come back to that in a little bit. But when we're bridging this divide, when we're bridging the divide from darkness to light, or from death unto life, Jesus was that bridge for us from death to life. Spiritually speaking, we were dead in our sins, right? There was only one way that we could be made alive, and that was through Jesus' death on the cross. That was the good news. The good news is that Jesus saves us. We had no hope at one time. We were destined to die. We were destined to be separated from God. We were surrounded by darkness. We were surrounded by death, but no more. No more. In Colossians chapter 2, verse 13, it says, you were dead because of your sins, and because your sinful nature was not yet cut away. Then God made you alive with Christ, for he forgave your sins.